So what can you say to young people? Because currently, ha re sheba environment re bona bo unemployment godimo, and ka nako nngwe young people ha ba leka ho ipatlela ebe ha ona bo support system ba bang. What can you say to
Exactly. You said I've done a lot of things. and sometimes, which is why it becomes very difficult for me when people ask me, so what do you do? I do people. To your question, you talk about the support system, which is very key and critical into the youth growth. Because the question is, what kind of support system are we talking about? There are different types of support system. There are young people who come from families without parents. Do they have a support system to carry their dreams forward? Yeah, without a mother and a father. Do we have a system that says, you know what? We have young people who have ideas, who have done things, but they don't have an immediate support system. Can we offer them that? Do we have that? Like a deliberate, really good system that can do that? Now we are getting into the entrepreneurial space. Lesotho is up in arms to say Bacha should be part of the private sector, development sector. Do our parents, do our villages, do our communities understand what entrepreneurship is? When you are a young person and you are given an opportunity within the Sababas or STEAM and other opportunities, there is the Uniport coming as well, Annual Innovation Hub, Bitcoin, and what have you. When you are told that the moment you receive seed funding, what needs to happen is that we have to start seeing you generate sales. As a community, as a society of Basotho, we don't grow up doing sales. Because so because of that, then we see most enterprises receiving grants because they are good ideas. But now when they have to graduate and get into the sales, space, they struggle because it's a skill. It's a skill. Marketing is a skill. Sales is a skill. And if you don't have a natural flair for that to happen, you will have started a business or an organization that is not going anywhere. Because even on the organizational level, we may not call it sales, but it's results. Can this organization stand and offer the services that it's supposed to offer for the community for a year and still be able to attract funding or support, any kind of support, just that it goes beyond the 3-year mark? Most don't do that, are not able to do that, whether they have received funding or not. So for me, I think that is where part of the support system, part of the challenges that young people are facing is. Because some of them, they come from, and I don't even think it's those that come from challenged backgrounds per se, it's all of them. Once you have money that you never managed, you have 50,000 on your table, and it said, this is your money. You're supposed to buy oranges, and you're thinking, hey, I have 50,000 for oranges. Do I really need oranges? You begin to see other possibilities, you see? And those other possibilities, because you begin to, maybe I don't need oranges. Maybe what I actually need, so the discipline that comes with money can be quite challenging. So it is self-support as well. Are you disciplined enough to receive what you're supposed to receive and do with it what you're supposed to do with it? Or when it is put on the table, you remember, okay, I don't have salt, I don't have sugar, I need transport, I need airtime. And then by the time the first report comes out, they ask you, so what did you do with the first 10,000? You have no answers. So that is the kind of support system to build discipline, internal discipline and external discipline of a community that will carry you through that. We still like that. It's still not there as a very strong part of the system. Yes, what I like now is that now we have what you call business support organizations like Gem Institute, and there are many of them. So with that, now we are creating a system that says, as young people grow into the entrepreneurial and innovation space, let us then create systems that will hold them, help them to move forward. So there is that at the community level. You remember we talked about the family level. Do we have that kind of support? Because at the family level is another parent may actually be doing well, but you're also a brilliant young person who wants to go out and do whatever that you want. But the parent doesn't have financial literacy, for instance, doesn't have sales literacy, for instance, so they don't know how to support you. So what do they do with you at that particular moment? So these are some of the questions that we have to go out and teach our communities to say, now we have a new different crop of young people that are beginning to do amazing things. And as churches, as communities, as chiefs, as schools, you have to know where your children are so that you can support them. You have to also grow new skills so that you can support this crop of young people and carry them forward so that they don't feel like they are on their own. So we have to have what is called a social security system. That is part of the peace and security agenda. Because if we don't have a strong social security system or network, we might actually lose some of the brightest young minds because they don't feel like people don't understand what they're doing. We are talking about technology now. Even my generation, even though I know quite a bit about technology, sometimes the kind of ideas you guys come up with, you're like, what? Can this actually work? So you see, now I have to struggle. When this person talks about this app and he says he's going to do this, does he have a community of support that will say, yeah, sure, I'll give you technical support. Yes, sure, I'll even give you financial support. I'll even hold you in and incubate you so that you are able to do that. Or they look at you like, you? These things cannot be done. I mean, I saw a lot during this team. Very interesting concepts. I saw a lot during Sibabazo. Very interesting. And then I'm thinking, the 50-year-olds are going to be listening to this like, well, yeah, we hear you, but we don't think this is going to happen anytime soon. You'll be told, it's a good idea, but wait until maybe 30 years. You'll be 50 by then. So these are the kind of, because it is also the type of security system are we talking about, the kind of support system are we talking about. So these are quite a number of things that when we think about these things, we should not think about them at a surface level. We should think them, at a deeper level, by understanding that when we throw you into the deep end and you say, as Phalali, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be an ICT entrepreneur, and I have this good ideas, and I want to solve Lesotho's community challenges or problems. As a person, as an adult, I need to look at you to say, I may not understand what you're saying, but you know what? I'm going to give you an opportunity to go mad, be crazy. Let's see how far you can go with this. That is the least that we can do. And I don't think there are enough platforms for that. So part of the security, part of the support needs to do that. That's what we try to do at Gem Institute. We keep a very relaxed platform to say, yeah, come in. You are crazy. Good. Fantastic. Go play house. Let's see if you can play with your toys. Yeah. If we can have more of those, because what I'm seeing is that I'm seeing a wave of a support system that is a bit more technical, too technical, without people first finding themselves like, is this really what I want to do? Or I would want to do other things. So sometimes you're forced to do something because it's a good idea, but rather you would prefer to still explore other things. So that for me, it's that, I wish we could have more spaces that are a bit more relaxed for young people to grow a bit, for them to be confident in their ideas, so that those that are already confident, they can be passed through very fast. But also for those that are still, ideating and, thinking about the crazy stuff, they can also get some support. So that's what I'm thinking, that, when we talk about support system, we need to think about support system through different layers of what young people are going through. This happened with women in the past. Women received, because I'm also interested in gender issues, women are probably, older women now, are probably the generation that received the most money. But we don't know where those organizations are. We don't know where those initiatives are, because they have all collapsed, because it was just a lot of money coming in, and these women didn't have financial literacy skills, and they used it however way they used it. Some is stuck in banks because the committees have now collapsed, so they cannot access the money because they don't know how to go about governance issues. These are the same things that young people are going to be faced with.
Do you think one day you'll go into politics?
Why?
Visit TM Properties and Real Estate Investment Company. They are located at Medcash Complex. Their services include property evaluation, site inspection, property survey, property investments, property management, property rentals. They buy and sell property. Visit today.
Well, do you want me to go into politics?
No, because some of the leaders are in political spaces. E ka re ba hloka bo tataiso ho dintho tse ngata hore ke bona ba ka etsang phetoho e tatile neng lo ja di-stakeholder ntse di lega government e bapala di-kgolo.
When you ask political support system, because basically that's what you are asking, you are saying, I look at our politicians and I feel like they don't understand what they need to do. They don't understand the kind of support that they need to give us as young people. That's basically what your question is. Because when you ask me if I ever thought of ever going into politics, for me, you are saying I see a gap, and somebody like you would be a good fit in a gap that the political space has created, that we don't have politicians who understand this kind of things. And I've always said, this is not the first, you're not the first person to ask me this. And I've always said, we don't all have to be politicians. But what we can do is that if you have seen that I have something in me that might enhance the political space, maybe my responsibility is to go to politicians to say, hey guys, young people are saying you don't have skills to support them. Now let's talk. Let's talk and look at how you can support young people, because I know you support them, you know. So maybe you should change your strategy in how you support your communities. Do you know a group of young people? Yes, you have young people in your political parties, for instance. But do you have an enterprise in your political party? Do you have a set of young people that are in the entrepreneurial process so that you can support them? So that you don't only concentrate on Mobatabafu, but you also concentrate on sustainability initiatives within the community where you come from, within the party where you come from, and how are you supposed to do that? And then we give you the gem model to say, Rona, this is how you do it. You want us to teach you how? Come into a meeting, let's talk about this. Because if we only put them on a pedestal to say, these politicians don't hear us, these politicians don't want to listen, they really don't have skills. Some of them, but he's now in parliament, she's now in parliament, like, oh, okay, so what am I supposed to be here? And while they're supposed to be there, they are parliamentarians, they're legislators. They are not development workers. We need to make a difference between what is a development worker and a legislator. A legislator looks into policies and laws. That's why they sit in parliament. Yes. They don't sit in parliament to come up with projects. That's my role, to come up with projects. But if we are saying we need political will for the kind of projects that I model, for the kind of ideas that you come up with as a young person, now we need political will for them to create policies, develop policies that will support your work, that will develop and support bills and laws. The youth development bill is still hanging in parliament, and young people are saying nothing. So there is political challenges on both sides, that young people are looking at this bill and they feel like they don't have a voice to say anything about that. Like, but what are you doing in parliament? When is the bill coming out as an act? It's been 2017. It's now 2024. What is wrong? And then, parliamentarians change after every 4 years. Now we have a new administration. I have not heard Bata, asking Hore, now new administration, where is that bill? What is happening with it? How far it is? So there is no political will on both sides, because whether we like it or not, I know in the Lesotho context, the young people look at politics as something dirty. Politics are part of our lives, whether we like it or not, because the policies and the laws that are developed in parliament, they affect us. So when we challenge them, that's when politics start.
Unlock new worlds at the Connection LS at Maseko Mall for only 35 Maluti. Experience the thrill of virtual reality. Whether you are chasing excitement or exploring incredible landscapes, it's an adventure you won't want to miss. Step into the future of fun today. 9D virtual reality game machines available at Maseko Mall next to game stores.
So what were some of the challenges you faced when you founded Gem Institute and along the way? Also, your project, like Gem Institute has released about like several films and series. Like,
Well, not. Yes and no, and I'll tell you why. When we started, like I said, immediately after we registered Gem Institute, I had to leave the country. So the first project that I did, it was done on WhatsApp. I came home, or rather, no, before I left, there was an opportunity, an ICT opportunity, was what was called Africa Code Week. So I had expressed interest to say, as part of the Africa Code Week, I would like to take the gender perspective, see more girls and women, be trained in coding, in programming, and they agreed. And as they were preparing for the project to come to Lesotho, and then I had to leave the country. So, but they were kind enough when I told them that, I'll be leaving the country in September and I would like to be part of the workshops before, so then I didn't even have trainers, but I said I have trainers. And they had a first workshop, which I was able to attend to do HTML. And then I left the country. And some, what is the program? Oh my word. I forget the name of the program that we used at time. When I got to Ethiopia, my youngest brother has done computer engineering. What is it called? Computer something systems. So in Ethiopia, I drop in a WhatsApp to say, hey, look, I don't know how to code, but I was taught how to code, so I will have to share you this code and tell me what it means. Get into a particular website, the Africa Code Week website, and look at how the code looks like, and then we can work at it and see if we can do it. So it takes about, it's me and him on WhatsApp, training each other. And after that, which was about, I think it was 6 months later, so the training started in spring 2016. And I told him that, hey, you know what? You are going to go to one school. You are going to teach them exactly what you have been doing. You will have 100 kids. 60 will be girls, 40 will be boys. So he went to the school with the code, taught them how to code. Went to the Africa Code Week people. They also sort of helped me to code. And we had our first project. 100 kids in one school, 60 girls, 40 boys. We received funding from Google, $350. At that time, it was 3,500. The exchange rate was still 10. It was our project money. We were supposed to pay people so they can travel and go to schools.
Wow.
So again, I engaged him because I was like, oh, okay, he looks like he's passionate. And then he invited his friends as well. So they went to a few other schools in the same Intanazeka to teach classes how to code. So that is basically how we founded Njays Institute. And then years later, we established a program that was called Swift Course. It was predominantly young people who had studied computer science, young women. We had 8 of them. So we took them into the Africa Code Week. They became ICT ambassadors. They moved across the country. They taught teachers and students how to code. They were amazing. One of those is Girls Coding Academy. Another is Impact School. Another I've forgotten because it's a Xhosa name, so I don't know how to pronounce it. So they're doing well. Others have left, but they're also doing well where they're doing. So with our model, we say, come in, do stuff, whatever you want. If you are looking for employment, we'll give you skills for that. If you want to be an innovator, we'll sit you for however long you want to until you get your game together. If you want to start an organization, we can start, working around that. Of course, with the 6 ladies, it was a bit of a struggle because we didn't quite know what we were doing. Fortunately, some of them, they had a sense of what they were doing. So that helped a bit. Girls Coding Academy was very clear from the beginning that M'e Mpho, I want to start a company. Whoa, okay. All right, let's see if it can happen. So she did that. Fast forward, we were able to graduate 150 girls through a conference where they are supposed to create ICT projects. So we have a conference. They came from across the country with amazing projects. I remember one particular, because there were many, I remember one particular project where they had created a flask. So the flask, what happened was that when you rubbed it, it warmed the liquid inside. Yeah. And you see that kind of project, it would easily go for scale. You know what the problem is? Because at that time, it was an idea, a prototype that actually worked, but there was no money. They are in high school, now they have to leave. When they leave, we no longer know where they are. So basically, we have lost that idea. So you see the kind of support system to say, at what point should we, as young people, should we receive a support system that will support an idea even when I am in high school? You were at STEAM. There were, high school students there. So if they're not going to receive money, then what happens with them if they have a good idea? You see, when I say there are different types of support systems, and we need to think about those, and we need to think about those deeply, not just on the surface. And I am saying this very kindly because I also understand how systems work. Systems are fast because fast results. Is this working? If it's working, how many? 150. Okay, how many successful? 50 successful. Fantastic. Good. But we'll never feed it. So we are looking for numbers now. Is entrepreneurship working? Yes. Innovation working? Yes. How many are working? 100 and what? Down to what? 30. Do we have 30? Yes. What happens with the 70 that are left from the 100 out of those that were selected? So if the 30 are going to get a support system that will take them to another country for exposure, what happens with those that are home? Should they be discouraged? And I've always said, by no means don't be discouraged. So from Njays Institute, this is where we will say, if you didn't get that far, now it is your opportunity to shine. because you are no longer under pressure. You are no longer under pressure to please another person. You now have all the time to refine, to rethink, to remodel, to re-prototype, to redo whatever, or venture into something different, so that you are comfortable with your own space. So that is the privilege of not being, top of the 30. Because now you can go back to say, maybe I just wanted to be here, be seen. And because I didn't make it, now let me really sit down and say, yes, I could still run with this, but I could try something that is a bit more simpler, that is a bit more understandable, and still from my original concept, and hence this one. So you have more time. The only challenge is that if GEM Institute supports you, does it have enough resources for you? So these are some of the projects that we have been successful at. The Girl Tech Talk Conference, the Green Tech Bootcamp, and then working with young people in different districts. Now we are working with schools. We work with 50 schools, and we are incubating them in the creative innovation space. It is the same schools that we started with in 2016, and now there is more of them. They keep on applying to come in, and this year we had targeted 50. We have 51. A solid 51. And what we are going to do with the schools is that we are going to set up entrepreneurship and innovation and research hubs in these schools. Where
are they high schools or
primary and high schools? We are going to connect young people around those schools to work with the schools to set up entrepreneurship spaces, innovation spaces, and research spaces. So that, as a school has a project that is supported by yourself, for instance, because you do podcasts, and then you come in with your cameras to say, so the principal, come and tell us what you do, so that people can hear what you've got to say. So we have already planted in the schools, the 51 schools. We have planted over 4,000 fruit trees. Not all of them have been successful. Some have are banned by people. So these are the kind of challenges of that people face. Some were not well taken care of, which is why it's very important to understand the needs of the people that you work with. So you have to keep on visiting them to remind them that why did we plant these trees? It's because of climate change, because we want sustainable change, because we want sustainable entrepreneurship. Once they start making fruits, these fruits are not going to go anywhere, rather we are going to grow this business. Maybe it will be the beehives, next time. So we are trying to teach them about the ecosystem of what makes an enterprise within the same schools. So with these 50 schools, we hope, and we have kept it. We are no longer accepting other schools because otherwise we are going to set up ourselves for failure. So the 50 schools are going to be our testing labs, and we are going to divide them into 3 different categories. The old ones, those that joined about 2 years ago, and then the new ones. Then we can start collecting data to say, how are they performing? So that they can also share ideas about their own experiences. In the same districts where the schools are, we have youth groups. And now we are going to begin to attach these youth groups with the schools so that they can be part of the school community. We have partnered with another organization, Christian Council of Lesotho. It has churches. So try to create an ecosystem where young people are, so that they can be the school, the church, and young people as part of the entrepreneurial innovation and sustainability mechanism. So these are the next steps going forward.
Thank you so much for being on the Reconnect podcast and TV show. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Yes. What I would like to share is that Unemployment is not a joke. It's real. It's real and it affects everybody, whether, especially among young people. And it affects young people from difficult backgrounds. It affects young people from privileged backgrounds. It affects everybody. And it's very important that we understand, or rather we develop a system that will work with these young people that need to be supported. Whether they need to be supported because they are seeking employment, whether they want to do their own thing. Luckily, we have a crop of young people who are saying, I'm not necessarily looking for employment, but I would like to create something. We have to really have a very strong mechanism that will support those that are saying, I want to create something that will also employ other young people. I would also want to say, because these systems cannot take everybody, those that are not able to make it through to these numbers that I've talked about, they should not be discouraged. Gem Institute is there, and there are other organizations. There is LEAP, Queen, there is VETCO. Even if you don't go there because you want money, go there because you want information. What can I do? This is where I have done. This is where I've started, and this is where I am at. I need to be advised. What can I do? You don't have to wait until when a call says we are looking for 50 young people to come and submit their proposals. No. Start working with yourself even before then, so that when that call finally comes in, at least you know a few things. So capacity building is very important. Whether it's capacity building peer mentorship, capacity building organizational mentorship, capacity building expert capacity building, where you meet people that are in the computer science space to say, I need a mentor, something like that. Then look out for them so that you can have somebody who works with you, because it's difficult. It's rough out there. And to parents, if there are any parents that listen to this podcast, is that we understand. It is not easy to understand this kind of young people today. They are a little bit crazy, which is okay, but it's good crazy. So they have to start changing their mindset to appreciate that we have a new generation of young people. But young people also need to be graceful and kind, to realize that even though we live in different worlds, they have to still appreciate that we are here. So as we carry you, also carry us.
Oh, Mas, our videographer, do you have a question for
I don't have any question. If anything, I'm inspired. I'm blown away. I could listen to you all day, actually.
Thank you. That is very kind of you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.